welcome to Createful Art. I'm excited to show you how to paint this lovely floral. I've put the artist that inspired me in the description and all of the supplies that I'm using today. So come, relax, and let's paint these beautiful flowers. So what you need is either a piece of paper, a canvas, or a panel to paint on. I'm using a wood panel and it's an 8 by 8 inch. Also, I have these colors pre-mixed. If you want to mix these colors with me, these are the colors for the entire month's paintings. You can go ahead and click right here or go to patreon.com/createfullart and get my color mixing videos. And then I have a few brushes here. I have a large flat brush, a medium filbert brush, and then a medium round brush with a nice point, and then I have my palette knife. We're going to put texture in this painting with the palette knife. It's going to be really fun and playful. So we're going to be building up layers here. So I'm going to start with the underlayer. So for this first layer, I'm going to use the dark blue color, and then everything above that is going to pop out. So I'm going to start with this and just get it down. You don't have to get rid of your brush strokes or anything. Just have fun playing around and get this first layer on. This is also a great time to get in the mood to paint and relax. So once you have your first layer down, then you're going to let that dry. So now I'm grabbing my filbert brush and I'm going to work on the composition here a little bit. So I want to have a couple flowers here in the middle, and I want to have some overlapping of those. So I'm going to make the big flower right over here, and I'm outlining it with the blue because I'm just working on sketching the composition, and I can always go over this blue because it's the background color. So I've got a big flower that I want to have here. I'm going to do a big flower overlapping right here. I would like to have a flower right in here. And you don't have to follow this exactly, you can just play around with it. I'm going to move this flower over here. This is all about design and making things the way you want them. I'm going to do a little flower. See how this is really lined up? I'm going to do it a little bit over, like right in here. So this will be more like this, and they can touch. A little bit of overlapping here. I'm gonna have a flower coming up right in here, and a little bit right here. So I'm going to check this composition, move it over just a little bit. And that's why it's so fun to sketch these things before you start working on them, because it's so easy to move things around at this point. I want to have some buds in here. Decide on what I want here, because you know that'll be a very blank space. So I'm just going to put a little center right in the middle. And it's all about building these layers. So I'm going to start pulling out some ideas for where I want to put branches. And some leaves. I'm just pushing on the side of my brush here. See how it's starting to come together, and this is just one color. And it's so simple. So if you need to get my painting as a reference, go ahead and click right over here. That's something I give my Createful Art members. and they also get weekly art lessons and the color mixing videos. So I'm going to do a little bit of maybe some rounds here, and when you do rounds it's better to grab your round brush. So see how the composition is, and you can change it when you're just using your background colors. Decide what do you want to do. Once you're done sketching this out, let it dry, and then you're ready for the next step. While you let that dry, I just wanted to show you these beautiful handmade brushes. I have put a link in the description to them, and they're a great gift idea for any art lover. Now we can start painting the roses, and we're going to build up using some shapes here. So we're just going to start by using our brush, and I'm going to use the filbert brush to begin with. You want to put your lightest rose where you want your focal point. I'm going to put this one as the white rose, the lightest rose. So there's a reason for all of my composition choices. I'm just sharing that with you so you can make your own. So I'm going to start in the middle here, and I'm just going around with some brush strokes. And you're going to be able to see the blue underneath it, and that's the point. And when you're building up, you don't worry about covering everything. You're just getting the idea of the rose petal shape. So I'm going around in a circle, and I'm using this brush to have a little bit of a small line right here, and then it thickens and goes around like that. So I'll leave this center open, and then I'll move around the rose, and as I come out, I'm going to have larger brush strokes. This isn't a realistic rose painting, it's just impressionism, and it makes it really fun and playful. So when I'm overlapping, I can just go over here and then I'll put the rose on top of it. So this is a nice big rose through here. So if you find you want to shape it any different, then go ahead and do that right now. So this one I'm going to have a lighter rose. So I'm going to start in the middle with this middle pink. And I might even add just a little bit of that dark red. And then I do the same thing. I build up around it. And I overlap. So now I'm going to go on to my next rose. And these roses are going to have all of these colors within them so that they're harmonized, but this is just the first layer. So we're going to go with this for now to give you an idea of how the composition will work here. And I just leave this one, so see how I just go around like that? And see how this one pops a lot? So I'm going to settle it down with some of the pink in here. And then this one's supposed to be the focal point, so I come in here with some of the lighter color. I'm going to focus on the light being on the outside. And it will blend with some of those petals. So those two will look very similar. Okay, so I'm going to start adding to this one some of the middle color, because most of this blue will be gone. It's just going to be in between some of these petals to really make it pop. And see how the layers really make it look a little more fun and more like a rose. And we're not really going for realism, and your brush strokes may be a little bit different than mine. It's okay. We had a lesson all about brush strokes though, and if you want to learn to create your own brush strokes and be able to control those more, then go ahead and get my weekly art lessons. They will help you with that. So now I'm going to go on the outside here just a little bit more. Just keep building these layers. Work on this flower over here. This one's off the page. Doesn't need to have a whole lot of detail. And then I have this one up here. This one's also going to be a light one. This one I'm going to have a little bit different. Have it showing the middle, like cupping like this. So over here I'm going to do dark buds, and still using the same brush, I'm just going to go in a circle here like that, and that's the first layer. And then over here I'm going to do some lighter buds. And maybe some that are starting to open. Tight one. That's small. And then a random red one. So there's a rose down here that I kind of forgot about. I think I'm going to do it just a really dark rose again. Now I'm going to create some lines. I'm just going to use these same brushes, and these are going to be leaves and things that are going on in here, just like I have through here. And it may seem weird to you that I'm grabbing red to do stems, but it's just going to create a little bit more harmony. So I'm going to take a stem going down like that, go around this stem, that, and then I will start adding in the greens and things. So that'll come into play. So I can come up right against that white with the green, and it'll look like it's a highlight. Now I'm going to push down on my brush here, get like a leaf looking thing right through here. Of course, let's do a long. So I just put in a leaf right there. Having all kinds of shapes and lines. And then I leave some of the blue behind it. Because that makes it look like shadow. And I'll follow some of these things that I've done with the green. So this is where I get really playful and I just have fun. I push my limits and I get rid of anything I don't love. Create some different shapes in here. So like I said before, I like to try to bring in some of these other colors just to pull your eye and make it feel like there's harmony here. And if something's too strong, I can always take it out. If you just do little bits here and there, it'll make sense. So see how it's looking really cool with all these layers? And we haven't even gotten to the lime green yet. So I'm gonna grab that. And this is really gonna make it pop. I'm going to come over here and show you something. See how I really made that stand out? I'm just going to make half of it stand out all the way to the edge. And if you wait for it to dry, it'll stand more on top, but if you leave it wet, then it'll blend more. So I like to just add this light green in different areas of my painting. But I feel like there needs to be some pop of color. I may even put a little bit of that lime green right here on the flowers. Just play around with that. You can even, if you wanted to, put a little bit of a dot of lime green in the center of the flower. Like, there's no wrong or right, because this is a very impressionistic painting. So now you start getting into where it's all about personal preferences and what you want to do to change your painting. So I'm just gonna show you a couple things that I want to do. Of course, building these layers brightens the colors. So you can brighten some colors by building more layer, one on top of the other. So see how that red really pops right there? And I'm letting my paint be really chunky. So now I'm going to start going over it with the blue, and this is where the layering comes in and it makes it really cool. So overlapping of the shapes. And since this isn't a focal point, it doesn't matter. We don't need to have that completely uncovered. We don't need all these roses to be seen. And pushing down. And then pulling up. And if your flower isn't dry, it'll start trying to blend. That's why I am continuously taking off the paint down here and then reapplying. Saves time to do it that way. So now you can do other things over it with the colors. So maybe I want to add some round little circles here, or dots, or centers. Maybe I want to make round little centers like that. Whatever you add just adds flavor to your painting, makes it more interesting to look at. So now I can add dots or things that I want with the light color to add some fun elements. You can also add lines. You can put some of this color in the center. You can add little thin lines. Or you can take your pink and do that if you feel like it's too strong of a color. You can also pull any of your favorite colors into this if you want. Just do a little bit if you're going to do it. So say maybe you want to add yellow, or your favorite color is purple, or your favorite color is turquoise, or anything like that. You can just pull it in with little bits. So next you grab your palette knife and you get a good amount on there, and you look for places that you can add more texture and make it stand out more. So for example, these leaves right here, I'm going to push and make them really textured. You don't have to do this step. This is just if you want some huge amount of texture in your painting. You come on the side of this rose and really give it some texture. You can see the texture there. You can see the texture here. This is just optional, but what it'll do is give a really cool appearance to your painting. So one of our art lessons was on how to use palette knives. So that's why I'm showing you this today. If you want to learn more, go ahead and get my weekly art lessons. They're there for you so you can expand your options as an artist. So I've created some beautiful texture in here. That's all optional if you want to do that, and you can practice your palette knife painting with me. So I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial and that you had fun painting along. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to paint next. We're also enjoying a theme for this month and a color palette if you want to mix along and enjoy this theme with us. Go ahead and click right here if you want to get those art lessons, the color mixing video, the reference photos, and join a community of art lovers. Thank you so much for watching. You can watch more videos, and I'll see you in my next video.